Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tigress Talk. We are the first and only Bengal show created by women. I am Jess, aka Hube, aka Mrs. Obvious, and I am joined by Kayla and Whitney. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. Jerry is traveling to see family for the holidays, so we're missing her today, but thank you, ladies, for being here.
It looks like what she's really doing is having a margarita without us right now, let's be honest. I just thought that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Good for her.
I feel like okay. I feel like I used to call this day, I used to call it Drunksgiving because all of my friends from high school used to come back into town from out of town to visit family on this day. And we used to always go to the bar and make bad choices and then like be really miserable at family Thanksgiving the next day. That was like a big tradition for me, I think, for the first like 4 years of my adulthood. But anywho, what did you guys think of the game on Sunday?
Well, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I approve.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like it felt like it started kind of crazy. I don't know, like I remember at the beginning thinking like I still don't know what kind of game we're gonna have. And then it's like we just kind of kept plugging away, and then I also remember at the very end of the game thinking like it doesn't feel like it's such a blowout, but I look at the score and I'm like, it is. So I don't know, it's bizarre but awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you think, Kayla?
I mean, yeah, same. It was like at first I was really nervous. I think the first I don't know, it didn't start off super great for us, but then it turned around quick and it was really fun by the end. I felt like pretty relaxed by the end of the game, which I never, feel like I can breathe during a game. So that was good.
Sorry, it's feeding time, and she was like, "Get me out of here." Anyhow, yeah, no, I totally agree. Obviously, I had a great time, and we'll get to that. But we've got some comments. Thank you, everybody who's watching live. Greg says, "Who Day, ladies, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Greg." Brian Bowman says, "Who Day." Greg says, "Big win, and let's take the momentum back to Paul Brown against Pittsburgh." Yes, I really hope so. A little nervous. Crypt Keeper says, "Hello, ladies of the Who Day." All right. Hello. Hello. Thank you for being here. Justin says, Who Day, Justin. And Dave says, that game was fun to watch. I have to agree, Dave. So I think my big takeaway was that I was really happy that our defense kind of found themselves again. I don't know if you guys know like the extent of my weirdness, but I write a lot of like parody songs in my head, and I wrote one about the defense, and I'm not going to sing it, but basically it was a sad song about the defense, and I'm just really happy that it's that's no longer the case. So I was really happy to see the defense tackling. I was really happy to see no interceptions. I know Joe Burrow fumbled on that opening drive, and it was very sad. It's kind of like right in front of where I was sitting, and so I was kind of like, again, like, how is this going to go? I wasn't quite sure. But then when our defense made that huge stop, I was like, okay, like this is good, and then I feel like, Joe Burrow didn't have the best game, I don't think, but I think that he did enough, obviously, to win. And I kept losing track of the score because in Allegiant, like there's so much to look at, and the score was like really small, I felt like, compared to a lot of other things. So I kept like being like, what is the score? I don't even know, because we kicked so many field goals that I was like, I'm trying to do like math in my head. But yeah, it really felt like the game kind of like got carried away after a while. So I was really happy about that. I agree, Kayla. I was very relaxed towards the end. So it was a good day.
Yeah, I felt like I went from like tension and like nervousness And then just all of a sudden I did look at the score and I'm like, what am I doing? Like we're kicking ass. Like it was, I don't know, it's a bizarre feeling, but what really matters is you got to see it in person. Like it seemed amazing. I live vicariously through you. Like I said, I would. So
Yeah, it was really cool. The stadium was very impressive, and I really loved really everything about it, except we'll get to this later, but there was some not so good parts about the stadium. But I really had a great time, and the stadium was really cool. There was lots of art kind of on the walls as you walked through. So it was just a really neat vibe in there. And then, I mean, to see it from, you walk out of, the hotels, you walk down this giant road and you just kind of see it. And it's like in the mountains, and it's just like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So it was really cool. I really had a great time. I was glad that I got the opportunity to see it because it was really good. Really good.
Would you say it's like a must visit if you're just a football fan in general?
I
Like
think
for
so.
a diehard football fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I've not been to Dallas. I think that's another one that's probably pretty awesome. And I hear that SoFi is pretty cool.
That's
Although
one I want to go to.
yeah, somebody was telling me, and I guess I kind of knew this, but I didn't really put two and two together, that SoFi doesn't really have anything Chargers or Rams because they flip. So there's like no branding on it. So it's kind of has this like not as personable feeling to it. So I think in that way, the Allegiant, I could not think of the name of it. Allegiant kind of stands apart that way because it's very obviously Raiders. So
that's a great point. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, neither did I, because I was like, well, duh, it makes sense that they're in the same city, two teams in the same city, which is weird to me. Anyways, but
looked like there was a lot of Bengals fans there.
There were so many Bengals fans there. I was very impressed by that. And there were Bengals fans there from Cincinnati, but also from, I think Cap tweeted about it, all different countries. I sat next to a guy from Canada. We met people from Mexico that came up. I know one of our friends from Scotland was there. And gosh, I know I'm forgetting people, but it was amazing. There were so many fans.
It's
Sydney
really cool.
says, hope we do well in PBS this week. Yes. Us too, Sydney. But
I'm ready for us to be home for a stretch.
Me too.
Feels like forever.
There's no place like home. Yep, I agree. But
yeah,
I think
this final stretch is just, the schedule's crazy, right? It's
yeah.
It's like we are really backloaded with some really challenging games, so it doesn't hurt to have at least one little extra advantage in our favor of being home mostly.
Yeah. So, anyway, so just kind of to recap the game, the defense kind of kept Derek Carr at bay and also Josh Jacobs. So I think that was really one of the big keys as to why we won. And Jesse Bates was doing well. I felt like he's not struggled, but he just hasn't been his normal amazing, ridiculously amazing self. So, and we talked a little bit last week about how the second half of the season is usually better for him statistically. So I was really glad to see that. I was glad to see him do what we all know that he's capable of. And I mean, the pick by Eli, I mean, how great was that? We're thinking, okay, this is going well. This is going well. And then Eli got that pick and it was just like, boom, So, and I felt like our offense was doing, Joe Burrow didn't have a great day, but I felt like our offense was doing a lot of things right. We talked about getting Tyler Boyd more involved, and there he was. God love him. And, third down. Yeah. I felt like third down and second down have been really a struggle for us. If it's first and 10, it's like we, do fine with that. But if we let it get to second down, third down, I feel like that was where we really struggled. But we were 8 of 15 I have written down on third down. So that was, I felt like that really makes a big difference over the course of the game. So, the Raiders had some penalties that went against them on really kind of critical moments. A lot of them, I felt like, at least watching it, felt like a lot of them were on third down. And so I have a stat written down. They averaged less than 4 yards per play most of the game. So
Wow.
fewer than 4 yards per play. So they were trying to kind of dink and dunk, and it just wasn't really happening. But
there were some great defensive penalties too that helped keep us on the field and extend our drives, which I was quite thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I read that the Bengals are the least penalized team in the league, and that really made me happy because I feel like we talk about this team being young and this team, having a lot to work on as far as consistency and gelling. But I think it really speaks volume to these guys that they are disciplined enough that they can be the least penalized team in the league. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
It's a sign of the Zach culture. Yeah. So
yes,
I totally agree. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the Bengals kept the game close. They were really hammering the run, which I personally like, even though I get frustrated when I hate negative runs. I hate them. They just drive me crazy. And I felt like there were quite a few of those. But then there were also the big moments, the big, Joe Mixon got his big touchdown and he did his dance and I was doing it with him. I was like, I can do that one. I can do that one. I don't know that I can gritty, but I can do whatever Joe Mixon was doing there in the end zone. So I was standing right there. That was like in our end zone too. So I was having a good time with that. But yeah, I mean, obviously still have things to improve. I think Joe Burrow has a lot that he can still improve on. But I think he'll get there. And putting together a complete game. I thought special teams played well. I was really excited about Chris Evans, and there were a lot of really cool things I felt like that were kind of new, maybe, and maybe that's just being off the other side of the bye. But yeah, so I thought it was a great time. But do you guys see my background?
I love it.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's a very large tiger. That would be like a tiger from space, I think. And it dropped down.
Take that Sphinx or whatever it is in Las Vegas. It looks like take that Sphinx or whatever that is in Las Vegas. Like, what is it? Is that a
probably what Cap was going for? But
this is better.
Just didn't put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, that's totally it. So. Sorry, I'm getting behind on comments here. Greg says, Jess, your tweet during the game that was something like, these people here are pretty good other than the gentle behind me that don't understand penalties was funny. Okay, the guys, everyone was so nice. And nobody said anything directly to us, but the guys behind us would not stop running their mouths about the penalties. And they were so wrong. Like, they weren't even like, it was funny to me. I was like, oh, that's cute. Like, that's not how this goes, but okay. Like, he kept saying, like, how much did you pay the refs and all this stuff? And I'm like, if you only knew our struggles with getting calls, like, but
seriously.
Don't talk to a Bengals fan about that.
I know. I just kind of like chuckled to myself, and I'm not one to start anything, but yeah, it was pretty funny. But
although now I wonder if that's exactly what I sound like when I'm getting belligerent towards the end of bad games. Exactly.
We've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, that was a hold. Then they replayed. I was like, okay, it wasn't a hold, but probably should have been a hold. But yeah.
Close enough.
I know. I get like that too sometimes. But it's emotional. It's an emotional game. But yeah, they were being a little ridiculous. Sydney says, Dallas is amazing. I'm jealous that you've been to Dallas. I do want to go there. If the Bengals play there next year or the year after, I know there's like a rhyme and reason to how the schedule works, but I don't know it. And so I don't know which. It's like you have so many home opponents and so many away opponents, and you don't know the weeks, but you pretty much know ahead of time who you're playing the next year or whatever. So I haven't looked into any of that, but if Dallas is on there, I want to go. Optic says, hi, ladies. Can't stay, but wanted to show support. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks, Optic. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. I think we can move on from that. unless you get anything else to add about that game.
I was just gonna say about like your Mixon comment and how good it was to see him, keep pushing through. It did start slow and we had some negative runs, but I feel like it's always that way with him, and probably with a lot of running backs. I don't know, but it takes time to kind of get them going. It almost seems like, and the more you give them the ball, like they pick up momentum and stuff. And we definitely saw that. And I kind of give credit to Zach because you could hear him and Joe, both Joes, kind of mention this or allude to it in pressers after the game, that they had a game plan and they decided to stick with it. And then we heard just today them talking about, if you're going to be successful in the NFL, you got to run the ball, you got to pound it. So I don't see that going away, which is encouraging. And I'm glad they stuck with it, even though it looked really rough a couple times in the beginning. They stayed with it, and it worked out great for everybody. So,
yeah, it sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that Mixon really wears out defenses sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And I heard that they had said, and I didn't hear it for myself, but I just had heard secondhand that they had said that they kind of knew that there would be some negative runs, and they were basically willing to accept that as a product of the whole thing being good eventually. And when you look back, like when I was looking at, sorry, I don't know what my dog is doing down here. When I look back at Mixon's stats, he had a lot more positive plays than what it seemed like at the time. And I think it's because he had such big ones, like he had 123 total yards, and it felt like he was running into like a brick wall a lot of the time. So I was just really happy that he ended up having such a good day because, it's hard when you're live, you don't necessarily catch everything and you remember things differently. And when you look back at the stats, it's not always exactly what you remember. So I was happy to look back at that and see that he actually did have some pretty good runs. And obviously the touchdown I loved, but
and miraculously, FedEx Ground Player of the Week, and he got the angry run scepter and a game ball.
I was so happy about that angry run scepter. That was just super exciting. Volcano God said the dam will break. Yes, I agree. But Captain asks, how are the fans at the stadium? The Bengals fans. Meet anyone fun? No, I did. We met so many great people. And I know I've worn this shirt before, but I had to wear my Icky Woods shirt because he was at the game and he came up to us and was like, hey. And I was like, are you talking to me? Like, he wasn't. He was talking to Cap, but I was like, us? Are you talking to us? And then they wanted to take pictures. I know he's not really on social media, so who knows what happened to those pictures. We may never see those pictures, but he was like, I gotta get my picture with you. And it was like the best thing ever. And I was like trying to take pictures as it was all going down. It was all very Blair Witch looking from my phone. But yeah. So and so many great fans. Yeah, there were a lot of fans there from LA. There were fans there from Hawaii and different parts of California. We met awesome fan named Mike from San Diego, and it was it was awesome. Everybody that we met was awesome, and I just felt like we're all long lost family when we meet for the first time, even if we've never met in person before. It's just instant connection. Mike. It was funny because Mike. He was like, oh, he was talking to Cap. He was like, oh, I've got something for you. And he shows up with, I don't know if you guys saw the shoes on Twitter, but he had these shoes hand painted for Cap. And it was I cried. He brought them out and I was just crying. It was amazing. And then he's like, do you want to go eat dinner with me and my entire family? So we ate dinner with him and his wife and his kid and his brother-in-law and his sister-in-law and his nieces and we literally were at Cheesecake Factory with 10 people.
Oh, that's
it was
so
amazing.
Fun.
So it was just so many great fans. Yaz was there, which it's always great to see Yaz. And just Kat brought them to me, just show and tell. So yeah, I don't know.
Wow,
look how cute that is.
Yeah, that is so cool.
So
wow, that's special.
Green screen. That's the right one. Oh, and it says who on the toe of that one. And this one says day.
Nice.
So this is
Oh,
Welcome to the Jungle on this side. And it's hard to see with the green screen, and I only have 2 hands. But yeah, so it was just like, gosh, everyone was just so nice and fun. And it was great to meet so many people out there. So it was a lot of fun. And, one of the cool things I tweeted about this, but one of the cool things was we're watching warm-ups like we always do, because we get there like absurdly early, because we love just watching everybody warm up. And there was this lady who came down beside us, and she was trying to get Samaje Perrine's attention, and she's yelling like, Samaje. And I was like, oh, we'll help you yell. And like, we're waving and yelling, Samaje. And he looks up and he like waves and smiles. And she was like, he's such a good kid. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, he's my son. I was like, really? And I was like, and so then we just kind of started like talking about the team. And I was like, I feel like we're really close. We just are a few, we're going to put it together. It's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, nobody wants to win more than these kids. I was like, of course they don't. Like, no, I mean, they want to win so badly. And, she was, and I was just telling her like, we support them no matter what, but, we really feel like they're close to really winning big and everything. And then she like hugged me, and I was like,
Oh,
so sweet. She was such
I'm
a
like
sweet
tearing
lady.
up.
I know, it was like the sweetest thing ever. And I was like, would it be weird if I asked her for a picture? And I decided yes, it would be. So I ended up not, but maybe next time I'll be like, remember me? But I was laughing. Actually, how it all started was Joe Mixon's mom was right there too. And Joe Mixon always like says hi to us or whatever. And I was like, Joe's probably like, Mama, get away from those crazy people. So I was joking about that. And then that's kind of how we got on to everything. But it was a really cool moment because, I feel like it's hard for us to express our love for the team in a way that reaches them. You know what I'm saying? So like you can tweet at people, but there's a lot of noise out there. You can yell things at people, but there's also people yelling mean things. So it's like, I don't really blame people if they kind of tune it out. But like to be able to talk to somebody's mom and be like, look, we really believe in this team. We really believe that they're doing well. I feel like that's a message that can come across. So
yeah.
it was important to be able to do that.
And didn't Mixon and P. Ryan play together back in the day? Isn't that what I
think
remember
so.
his
At
uncle
Oklahoma.
talking about?
Yeah, I think they did.
So
Yeah.
I bet their parents might know each other.
Well, I think they all know each other, but yeah, they were definitely standing there together. So
yeah, that's so sweet. It does not pay me to hear stories like that, by the way, because I'm already sentimental enough. And whenever I hear stories like that, I'm like, if you ever cut him,
I know.
Like,
yeah,
so
really
hard.
Yeah.
It makes it so much harder. I feel like when you get that emotionally invested, but
And I do all of them.
yeah.
This is not okay. I don't want to hear about the business of football ever again. Just keep these guys together.
It's like I know it is, but at the same time, it's like, but I'm sad right now, But it's like, when you think about fandom as a lifetime thing, it's like, okay, people are gonna come and go, and it's sad, but yeah, I agree. It makes it so much harder when
they're such good people and their families.
I know. Like that's how I felt about Giovanni Bernard. Like we met his entire family in Florida, and so that's how I felt about him too. So
I can't talk about him yet.
Yeah,
that one hurt.
Yeah, but Jeff says I'll be driving from Southern Illinois with my son to Cincinnati on Saturday to catch the Steelers-Bengals games. His girlfriend and family are Steelers fans. They're not coming with us. I don't blame you, Jeff. Do not blame you at all. He says, oh, and we went to AT&T Stadium in Dallas when the Bengals played last, and it's absolute must. Yes, I agree. Very jealous. Greg says they were teammates in Oklahoma. Yes, that and Rodney Anderson too, who is no longer on the team. So I was sad about him too, because I just feel like when college teammates get back together, it's usually a good thing. So
yeah,
but
so much fun. Yeah, there were so many Bengals fans there. I couldn't even quantify it, honestly. I heard hundreds. I think probably thousands. Honestly, there were so many. So it was fantastic. But
You could tell watching on TV. You guys were loud.
Could you? Oh, good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to be polite. Like I was just kind of clapping politely. So, but I was trying to be respectful. I was around pretty much all Raiders fans except for like the people directly next to us, and then Mike and his family were sitting behind us. So, but other than that, it was like, you know, there was some across the way, there was some across here, but it's like immediately like behind me, in front of me, and to the other side of me were Raiders fans. So I was trying not to, you know, get my butt kicked, but they were all very, very nice. Everyone that we met was very nice to us. So
That's awesome.
all right. Well, let's get into We Meet to Talk, sponsored by Birmingham Meadery.
Oh. Mhm.
All right. So I know this is not a secret to those of you who watched, and there was plenty of hubbub about it already, but oh my gosh, Allegiant, Las Vegas, who I don't know who I need to take this up with, but we need to talk about that grass on that field, or lack thereof, I should say. Like, I don't understand. So apparently, and I've heard like different stories from different people, but apparently UNLV plays there, which, you know, how awesome for them, but they play on turf, and then they roll in this grass every week for the Raiders to play on, and it's absolutely terrible. Like, I couldn't tell you how many times our guys were slipping out there and sliding, and I'm sure you guys saw it too, but it was just absolutely terrible. And I'm like, you are in a desert inside. Like, there's literally carpet, like outside of our hotel, like the landscaping was like carpet. It wasn't even like nice turf. It was literally like green carpet in the flower beds. So, like, what makes you think that you need to grow grass in this stadium? Like, just use the dang turf like everybody else.
Yeah.
Jake Lisco said, I think it's worse than Heinz Field. And I have to agree. And Heinz Field, I've always felt like was top dog for number one crappy fields. And I think Allegiant really gave them a run for their money. So I don't understand what is up with that grass, with that field. I hope it gets better for the sake of the players. And I'm glad we made it out there with no injuries, because they were seriously, I was just waiting for something bad to happen. And I'm so glad that it didn't. But yeah, that grass was terrible. So.
Yeah. You could tell even watching it on TV, it looked so bad.
Yeah. I felt like even, and where I was sitting, you know, it looked okay. But then when you would see the, on the Jumbotron or whatever, you could see all the patches. Like when you go down the field, you could see all the patches. So I'm sure on TV, you guys could see that. I mean, it was just,
yeah,
it was awful. And I think that's why Evan missed that extra point. He was right there on the really crappy part. So I'm blaming that field for that point that we missed. But
yeah. I think that's fair. And as bad as it looked on TV, I just was always thinking, like, it has to look gnarly in person, because if it looked like, TV never shows how bad it is, you know.
Yeah,
can't really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. So
I'm surprised Vegas lets them do that, because anybody that, I feel like friends that I had that lived in Vegas for a time, there was always like strict water restrictions and all this stuff. You almost think, I mean, I know they got plenty of money, but just from like a, you know, conservation standpoint, you would think they would have been highly encouraged. Like, don't try to grow freaking grass like in the stadium. Like, you got turf options. Like,
right. Like, it's literally just absurd. It's absurd to me, honestly. So
yeah.
Yeah. That's weird.
I don't know. I got nothing. But all right. What do you ladies need to talk about?
We need to talk about the fake flea flicker. That was so much fun. I know it only went for 8 yards, but like, it was so unexpected, and it could have gone for more if not for that horrible turf. Well, not turf, grass. It was it was too much fun though. I want to see more fun, funky stuff that you just never see.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen one before, and I practiced saying it. Fake flea flicker. I kept saying flake flea flicker. Fake.
It's kind of dangerous.
Fake flea flicker. Fake flea flicker.
That's 2 or 3. You can do it. You
I
can do
can't
it.
do it. But yeah, no, I loved that play. I loved it. I love trickery and trick plays, and I just think they're so much fun. And I think that would have been a touchdown if not for that darn field, because I don't think anybody saw it coming. And then he just literally slipped, and you could see how frustrated he was after the play. So yeah, I feel like I feel like they can't do it too much, because then it's like then people expect it. But I hope it comes out at some point when you least expect it. That would be awesome. So
yeah, Lizzie Patterson tweeted about it, and like she wants to see it again. And I predicted, I'm not Jerry, but that's how we win our first playoff game. We're gonna throw it out then. That's what we're gonna do.
I
Wouldn't
love
that be
it.
badass? I know, right?
I love that prediction. Yes.
I'm excited just thinking about it.
And me too.
I would
Me
lose my
too.
freaking mind.
I love it. I love a good fake punt. I love a good wildcat. I love it all. I love it all. Fake flea flicker. That was the first for me. So
Yep. Don't make me say it.
you have to say it. I had to say it. You have to say it.
Fake flea flicker.
There you go.
I did it.
I know.
I'm not doing it anymore because
practicing.
I'll curse on accident.
Yeah.
For sure. We need to talk about Stanley Morgan Jr. apparently.
Right?
Because Joe Burrow says we ought to be talking about Stanley Morgan Jr. So we should do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So I am guilty of not knowing a thing about Stanley Morgan Jr. And I tried to research him today, couldn't find out a ton about him, like, about like personal stuff or anything like that. But I did come across a video by Dave Lapham that was just, I guess, this week, because it's since the Raiders game. And then another one earlier on in the year with Lapp and Horde and that other guy that I'm forgetting his name right now, and I feel awful. But they both brought him up. And so when Dan Horde and Dave Lapham was talking about him, they called him an unsung hero for special teams. But then when Lapp was kind of reviewing Stanley Morgan after this past game, he was talking about his incredible blocking. And he broke down some of the blocks that he's done throughout the season. And dude is a beast. Like, dude makes plays happen because of what he does on the field. Like, some of the plays that we've gotten really excited about this season, he's partially to credit for. So, yay, Stanley.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at his numbers, so he only has had one target, one reception for 3 yards. But like you said, Whitney, it's all the times that he's out there throwing blocks, being a potential target. You don't know. So I think just having him out on the field makes our offense better, and I am very excited about him, because I agree, I do not know much about him, but yeah, I'm glad to have him, and I'm glad he had a big game on Sunday. So for sure.
He got big praise from Burrow. He was talking about how he's like a huge part of the team in the locker room. So I would love to know more about Stanley Morgan.
Yeah, and I feel like, other than Riley Reef kind of getting abused by that one guy, I forget his name, Crosby, is that right? He's obviously he's just a beast of a man. So, other than that, I felt like our line played better. So I was encouraged by that as well. So,
yeah.
And I think he was probably had a hand in that. So, yeah. All right, Whitney, are you ready to give out any game balls this week?
Yeah.
Hold on. We got a Stanley Morgan comment. Stanley Morgan's dad was a 4-time Pro Bowler for the Patriots in the late 70s and mid 80s. Wow. All right, then.
Thanks, Eric.
Pretty cool.
That's
I love
very
that.
cool.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Eric. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Let's get to some game balls.
Hot.
All right. So just 2 this week.
Okay.
To the man who single-handedly, or shall I say single-leggedly, scored 74 of our 268 points on the season so far, who can open a can of Mr. Pibb from 40 miles away, to the guy whose legs should be insured like Tina Turner's, especially after kicking 3 50-plus yarders on a terrible field, In last week's victory, the athlete formerly known as Evan Money Mack.
Yay! Well deserved. Well deserved. I love it.
I'm a little mad at him for choosing that nickname, I will admit. I was very team Kickpherson.
Yeah.
And I have to let it go now. Rough.
We can still call him Kickpherson. It's just not what his favorite one is.
I guess. And then finally, to the guy who's responsible for two of my favorite Bengals shirts, he's created what has to be hundreds of graphics for our team without getting a single thing in return. The man with elite talent and endless enthusiasm for our Bengals, our personal Picasso, all the way in Washington, Dalton Signature. We are thankful for you this Thanksgiving that you're a Bengals fan.
That is so true. Well said. Yes, very well deserved, Dalton. We appreciate you. You are awesome.
He is tireless. Like he's always putting out good stuff. Yeah.
Always. Yes.
And I'm just thankful he's a Bengals fan. And how crummy would it be if he was a Steelers fan or something? Ew.
I wouldn't see it.
Well, that's true.
I'm so glad I get to appreciate his beautiful talent. So
yeah.
But I don't think anyone as smart and talented as that would be a Steelers fan.
Oh, burn.
That was mean. I should not have said that. I'm sure plenty of wonderful, talented people are. Maybe not. I don't know.
We can't say anything nice anyway this week. This is Steelers week, so
yeah,
we can be a little extra brutal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's it? 2 game balls?
That's it.
All right. Very well deserved. I love it. Okay. I'm not going to forget about comments this time like I always do. So let's go to some Twitter comments. Bungles Are Gone says, how does the new Raider Stadium compare to others you've visited? Kind of already touched on that, but I have not visited a lot of stadiums. I will be honest. I've only been, this is my fourth away game in here. And then I've been to the Wembley Stadium. And honestly, I think just the entertainment aspect really kind of sets it apart. I really loved being in Green Bay because of all the history there. I loved the museum there. And so that was a really good time. The stadium itself, I mean, you're sitting on a bleacher like you do in high school and college. So that was, but they were talking about how if they change it to seats that you would lose like a bunch of seats. And it's all like sold out, like season ticket holders or something. So anyway, you're sitting on benches, but other than that, I felt like Green Bay was really cool. It had a lot of good history there. And then I went to the Carolina Panthers game and the Miami Dolphins game. And then this one. So I think it's hands down. I think it's the best stadium I've been in. And you know how like we have a DJ playing music and the cheerleaders dance to it. Like they literally will like strike up the band and have like live music that the cheerleaders dance to. Like it was incredible. And it's all cool. Just like performers, nobody really famous other than I think Sammy Hagar was the halftime act. But it's just like really like talented, like band. And I mean, it was pretty cool. So I think it's definitely the best one I've ever been to, but again, have not been to that many. So thank you so much for your question. Brian asked, what were you the most pleased with in the game versus the Raiders? What concerns do you have despite the win? That's a really good question. I think I was most pleased with the way the defense played. With the tackling. So what did you guys think?
Yeah, being able to get Mixon going was awesome to see. Every time, he has a good game, I feel like we in general have a good game. So that was always encouraging.
Yeah. I agree with both of those. I guess also getting Boyd back in the mix a little bit more. I've been waiting for that game to happen. And so it was just nice to hear his name called by the announcers a few times.
Yeah. And it's funny because I picked up on it right away. I was like, Boyd's more involved. I love it. Yeah. And then the second part, what concerns do you have despite the win? I don't know if they're concerns necessarily, but I think we have room for improvement in terms of ball security. I hate turning the ball over, even though I was happy that there was no interception thrown. I think that speaks to, growth or whatever. Cause I think the past 4 games in a row, he's had at least 1 interception that he's thrown. So I think that ball security is something that I hope that we can improve on. I'm not going to call it a concern really, because I'm not concerned. I think not only have they proven they can win despite it, but I know that they'll get better with it. So concerns?
Yeah, that was basically about, what I was thinking too was we've seen some pretty big mistakes lately that are pretty uncharacteristic as far as ball security. So
Yeah. Really, I think my only concern is the consistency still, and starting earlier. When I look at the rest of our schedule for the rest of the year and how pivotal each of these games are, I feel like we're getting ready to head into a stretch of games. Every game feels like a playoff game. They're all so big, at least right now, with how tight the AFC is, and the AFC North in particular. So I guess just still tightening up that consistency and hoping they can get started a little earlier in games. It's not a concern, kind of like you guys, but it's an area we can definitely, I think, get better still.
I have to say, though, I feel like now when we go into halftime winning, I'm just like, we got this. We got this in the bag, because that's probably not always going to be true. But I just feel like we play so much better in the second half. And I realize that we need to play better in the first half too. But whenever we go into the half winning, I'm always like, we got this. No big deal. Because I know that we're going to come out in the second half and make adjustments. And that's one of the things I think that they've done really well this year. So very happy with that. So thank you so much for your question. And then Danny asks, I'd love to know your favorite moments of the season so far. Oh, it's a good one. There's been so many. I don't know. What do you guys think? Favorite? If you had to pick?
That first touchdown to CJ was pretty special because it was Burrow and CJ, and it was like everybody's coming off their injuries, and it was just special. It was a moment that just melted my heart, and so that's probably my favorite so far.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've been so excited for him this season. He needs to get back to photobombing, though. He's not given me much to work with there lately.
That's true. He's not photobombing. He's just waiting for us all to forget about it, and then he's gonna throw one out there. I can feel it. But yeah, I don't.
It's too hard to pick, right? I loved that particular Chase touchdown. I think this was one of your favorite moments because we did this not long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe during bye week, but yeah, that the one where he kind of spun out of like 3 different defenders' arms and evaded tackle for the touchdown. It was a really exciting touchdown.
Yeah, I really loved that too. I loved there were a lot of favorite moments from the Raiders game. I felt like that was a good moment. I loved winning on Thursday night. That was another favorite moment. So yeah, there's been a lot to be excited about this year. So I feel like it's been a long time since we've had so much to be excited for. So I'm very thankful for that. So all right. Kayla, do you have an injury report for us today?
I do.
All right, here it comes. Sorry, every time.
It's pretty great.
It still gets me. Yeah. All right, what you got for us?
So, Auden Tate is still being eased back into practices. So that was the big one. But then Adeniji popped up on the injury report today, but he got in a limited practice. So hopefully that's not too serious. We're still, knock on wood, we're still pretty dang healthy. So, yeah, I'm knock everywhere. But we're pretty lucky in that regard. On the Steelers side, Joe Hayden didn't play Sunday, and he also didn't practice today. And then Watt and Big Ben and Isaiah Loudermilk, they all were limited in practice today. And then the other thing was Cam Hayward will not be suspended for gut punching Justin Herbert, but he was held out of practice. So
He was held out of practice.
that's what it said. So
Big whoop.
yeah, I know.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. I'm going to keep to myself. But
yeah, I have a lot too. But
so they gave him a rest day. Like, here's a vacation day.
Probably because they reward that kind of behavior.
I think so. Don't get me started. That's awful.
Yeah, that was so disappointing. And I think I was listening to Lockdown and Jake and James were like, if that happens in Cincinnati, I think both benches will clear. And I was like, if that happens in Cincinnati, Cap will be physically restraining me from yeeting myself onto the field and punching somebody, which would be a very stupid idea. To punch somebody that's wearing pads. But I would be so irate if that. I mean, I was irate when that happened to Justin Herbert. That shouldn't happen to anybody. It's a game of football. It's not, your backyard brawl. Like, ugh. That made me so mad.
It's very on brand for the Steelers, though, and we've been saying it for years. So whatever.
Brian says, let's hear those thoughts on Hayward. I'm not ready to go there emotionally. But yeah, it was ridiculous. And then the announcers, I mean, I love Chris Collinsworth. I do. I love you. You'll always be a Bengals legend. But then they were like, Chris and Al were like, oh, there was a flag, but I think it was after the play. I was like, you think it was after the play? You think it had anything to do with him punching him in the stomach? Like,
and they replayed it several times. Like, so
am I taking crazy pills? Like, did he just punch that man? Like, and then they replayed it and it was like, and then you could almost see him like talking smack to him, and then he like got up and then he like punched him. I was like,
the mental gymnastics people do to excuse that behavior or why. Oh no, he just fell. Like, oops, I fell. Yeah,
they were saying that. Oh my god, I'm glad I did not see that.
Well, I don't think they said it on the broadcast, but that's like the narrative that was pushed because that's what Cam was basically saying. Like, there was, no malice. It wasn't intentional. Like, it was just kind of like
my
falling
fist slipped into your stomach. Like, I know what a punch looks like. Don't insult me. Like, come on,
I mean, even if it was an accident, like, it was like after the play was so dead. Like, he should have been up off of him anyway in the first place. So
you cannot convince me that was an accident. There is no amount of anything that will ever convince me that was an accident. And they do it because they can get away with it. And I don't want to go. I don't want to go to this deep, dark place.
Let's do it.
It's riddled with conspiracy theories, but I just really feel like they act that way because it's been allowed to continue. I mean, what you allow is what will continue. And they just know, oh, nothing's going to happen. So they spit on people and, do this and they know, I mean, I felt like it should have been more than just the one penalty. I felt like it should have been multiple penalties. So
he could have been ejected, know, and here's the thing, like, to Kayla's point, even if it was accidental, how many things get flagged every game that you watch on Sunday where it was obvious that the, person that got flagged didn't mean to do something?
Yes.
Think about Mike Hilton. Do you think that he, like, did something intentional? He was intentionally trying to avoid a helmet-to-helmet contact. It was obvious, plain as day to anybody with two eyeballs that was watching it. So I don't even care if it was unintentional or him falling awkward. It still deserves a flag because you're not allowed to gut punch someone. You're not. Oh, whatever. This is probably putting me in a good mental space to talk about the Steelers game because I'm mad.
Yeah. So apparently Cap's telling me that Cam said, I don't think I was trying to punch him. And if that is not some absolute gaslighting BS, if I've ever heard it, you don't think you were trying to punch him? Like, what?
And there was no fine, right? There wasn't even a fine after the fact, right?
No fine, no suspension. It was only the normal 15-yard. What was it? Unsportsmanlike? What did they call? I forget what they called. It was terrible from start to finish. It was terrible. Greg says if that was perfect, he would have been suspended for this season. Absolutely, Greg.
Yeah, he would have been arrested. Like,
to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. I mean, that is just, gosh, if there was, oh my God.
cap. I just read that.
Jeffrey Dahmer said, "I don't think I was trying to eat him." Did he really?
No.
Same energy. Yeah. Serial
Yep.
killer energy. Yeah, I know. I'm just like that. It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Brian says he tried it. Jeff says if Hayward was wearing a Bengals uniform, there would have been flags flying everywhere. Yeah, and the commenters would have been like, "Well, you can't do that. You know, you can't hit people." Brian said that's what Hayward said. He lost his balance and went to brace himself.
Yeah, I don't pull back my bows like when I go to brace myself. Like,
right.
I
hold
just
on, let me get up real quick.
Right.
Give me a break.
That's how I always get up.
Yeah, me too. I just punch the ground. You know, if I'm trying to get up, I just leverage myself. That doesn't even make sense. Like how dumb do you think I am? Like, come on. But
shoot. Sometimes I smack people as I fall too.
I know, right? Like I don't think I meant to do that. I was just trying to get away from you, and I just smacked you on accident. So
yeah,
sorry about that.
Ridiculous.
Francis kept laughing in the background. Yeah. At least he's not putting away dishes today. I told him he wasn't allowed to put dishes away anymore. I'm not doing the show. Like clank, clank. Anyhow. All right. So yes, next week, well, this week, couple days from now, is Steelers week. My least favorite game of the year. I'm not gonna say I dread it, but I dread it a little bit. Just because I know that there's going to be a lot of fans there. I hope someday we get to a point as a fan base where we sell out to all Bengals fans and there's no room for these Steelers fans in our stadium. And I don't have to look at anyone's bare bottom. And, you know, it's happened before. And so I just, you know, I dread it. I dread them. You know, it's a bad time. So I hope we win. And I was real sad I couldn't be there last time that they won at home. I was real sad I missed that game, but I really hope that they can win. And I think if they beat them 3 times in a row, it'll be the first time since like the 80s. So that would be absolutely huge if they could win. So, you know, I'm glad we beat them at home. I hope we can have a similar game. I think that TJ Watt being back changes things a little bit, but I honestly think that we can beat them even with TJ Watt. I feel like they're not doing anything special on offense. They're really not. I think our defense has the ability to shut them down, and I think that if we can really get it together and show some consistency and some execution, I think we can beat them by quite a bit. So I really hope that we can come up with the win on Sunday. That would be awesome. So
we're playing a different version of them, though, definitely this time than we were the first time.
We are.
But
yeah. So,
I think we've also learned a lot and grown since then. So yeah, I'm excited.
Brian says it's okay. I'm making pies and getting ready for tomorrow. We all got a job to do, Kat. Brian, you're making pies? That's awesome. Good for you. Yeah. So I really hate when the Steelers come to town, but we will get through this and it will be fine. I wish Jerry was here to give us her prediction. I feel like she would probably say that we will win, but yeah, we'll see. We will see. Hopefully it will be hopefully it'll just be a blowout and we'll just have a good time. And I hope it doesn't rain. I think it's supposed to rain.
Oh, really?
I don't know. That's what I saw like a few days ago. But the cool thing about Ohio is that if you check the weather every day for a week, it will change every day that you check it. So I just keep hoping that it'll just change. So I'm okay with cold. I really hate the rain. So
we'll I think it's worse in the rain. I think the cold is worse in the rain just because you're wet. Like the snow is, I don't know, you're dressed for it better. I don't know. You can't waterproof yourself.
Right. Yep. So, anywho, Fashion Spotlight. Do we have anything this week for Fashion Spotlight? obviously wearing my Icky Woods shirt. I did want to mention that Yaz is doing a giveaway with Where I'm From, and you can win some awesome Joey B swag. So make sure you check that out. I tweeted about it recently. She tweeted about it recently, so you can find that, how to enter that. So that's pretty cool. Do you guys have anything else for Fashion Spotlight?
No,
My
what
mom
shirt
bought
are
me
you?
this. Yeah, my mom
No.
bought me this shirt. I don't know where she got it from, but I thought it was cute.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cute.
She just brought it over. It was sweet.
Aw,
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Shout
cute.
out to Mom if you're listening.
Way to go, Mom. But yeah, so I hope you guys are getting your Christmas shopping done. And if you need any ideas, you can watch last week's show. It was kind of all over the place, but I added links. So there's some links in the description of last week's show. If you're looking for gift ideas for the Bengals fan in your life. But anyway, I think that's all I got for this week. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you, ladies. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. I know I am thankful for all of Who Dey Nation and all the Bengals fans and everybody that I've met so far. And I hope to see a lot of you on Sunday. So, all right. So I guess that's it. Who Dey, everybody.
Who
Who
dey?
Dey? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.